National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the National News broadcast, bringing to you live from the National News Studios here at the ChannelEye Rupavahini Corporation. We're ready to bring you the top stories here at home and around the world. I'm Charita Minuparachi.
And I'm Heshain Ali. Let's have a look at the headlines first. $2.9 million low-income families to receive rice free of charge. Sri Lanka's access to the Indian and African markets should not be disrupted by any big power rivalry or conflict, President says. State Minister of Finance says the best anti-corruption draft bill in Asia will be tabled in Parliament soon. Permission granted to carry out trade activities on the roadsides in festive season. At least 26 killed as a powerful tornado tears through Mississippi in USA. On to those and other stories in detail. The program to distribute rice among low-income earning families on free of charge is currently underway.
Accordingly, 2.9 million families will benefit from this program. A program to convert paddy harvest in the Maha season into rice and distribute among low-income families set to be implemented. The government had made arrangements to buy 61,300 tons of paddy from the farmers. 10 billion rupees have been allocated for the first phase of the paddy purchasing program. Paddy purchasing will be carried out under the supervision of district secretaries and divisional secretaries. 10 kg of rice will be provided for each family per month. Minister Amaravida said that although it was planned to provide the rice subsidy to 2 billion families, later it was increased to 2.9 million. Under the program to distribute rice, the purchased paddy will be converted into rice through private-owned rice mills. Minister Mahinda Amaravida said that steps will be taken to expedite the packaging and distribution process.
ප්‍රදේශවල ජනතාවට කන්නනේ දැන් මම බැලුවා වී මෝල් කට්ටිය මේ දවස්වල දවල් රෑ නැතුව මේ ගත්ත වී හොටලා බෑග් කරලා හැම තැනකටම මේ සහල් අරගෙන යනවා සමුදා ඉඳලා නොමිලේ මේ සහල් ලබා දෙන්න කටයුතු කරනවා.
Meanwhile, rice packs were distributed among 37,715 low-income families in Vavuniya district today. The event was held at the Vavuniya Divisional Secretariat. 100 families symbolically received rice packs at the event. The program to distribute rice on free of charge among low-income families in Nuwara district was held today. It was held with the participation of Nuwara district secretary Nandana Galabade. $133,099 low-income families in Badula district expected to benefit from the rice distribution program. The first phase of the program was initiated today. The district secretariat has informed that rice will be distributed among 15 divisional secretariat divisions for the upcoming new year under the first phase. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that Sri Lanka's access to the growing Indian and African markets should not be disrupted by any big power rivalry or conflict.
And the president said that his objective is to create a delivered Sri Lanka through the 25-year new reformist program of the government. The president made these remarks during an interview organized by Harvard University recently through Zoom technology.
Sri Lanka is at a pivotal moment in its history. The island nation is facing its worst ever economic crisis since it gained independence in 1948. Since 2019, Sri Lankans have faced significant shortages of food, medicine, and fuel, as well as skyrocketing inflation. The economic crisis is estimated to have doubled the poverty rate between 2021 and 2022. Increasing the number of poor people by 2.7 million. The news this week of the International Monetary Fund deal raises both hope and questions on the economic trajectory of the country and the reforms ahead.
I became the president of the country amidst the worst economic and political crisis in the 200 years of its modernity. As you said, poverty had doubled to 25% of the population, 500,000 lost their jobs. The nation's revenue as a percentage of the GDP, 12.5 in 2018 to 8.2 in 2022. It was insufficient to meet the vital needs of debt servicing, salaries and social protection. The public debt increased to 11% of the GDP. As Sri Lanka moved towards the abyss of economic obliteration, chaos erupted. My predecessor was forced to leave the country and resign. The President's house, the President's office, the official residence of the Prime Minister, office of the Prime Minister were all occupied by protesters. My private residence and library were set on fire. Attempts to occupy Parliament and force the members of Parliament out were prevented by the timely arrival of the army. When I took over, our foreign reserves were down. There was no money in the treasury. I used to get up every morning, go into office and meet with the officials to see where we could find an extra 100 million rupees, an extra 200 million rupees. The foreign reserves are such, there were few days in which we had no foreign reserves. I had $2,000 at home. Therefore, once in my life, I was richer than the state. So my first task, therefore, was to arrive at a staff level agreement with the IMF. It required price adjustments, a difficult decision to make, but there were no options. Then came the IMF Extended Fund Facility arrangement approved by the IMF board on 20th March. It's broadly a 4-year program of fiscal consolidation from 2023 to 2026. It will also address the twin imbalances of Sri Lanka's economy, the fiscal deficit and the balance of payment deficit. We agreed on an ambitious program to restore macroeconomic stability and debt restructuring to achieve economic sustainability. The program will raise Sri Lanka's revenue to 15% of the GDP by 2026, improve debt management and control public expenditure. This will make available much needed financial resources for education and healthcare, as well as allowing the expansion of the social safety net and the restoration of price stability. More than the $3 billion that we received from the facility, the value of IMF support is far greater. The credibility that is attached to the IMF program helps unlock other sources of financing from development partners and the global market in general. Such financing is essential to build Sri Lanka's foreign reserve. Restoring external financing of our budget will also reduce the need for monetary financing by the central bank. Alongside negotiating for the IMF facility, Sri Lanka has embarked on efforts to restructure its debt. Precise negotiations with creditors on the modalities of restructuring debts will commence now. In reorganizing debt, Sri Lanka will ensure that the stability and integrity of its financial system remains robust and unhindered. All these measures will stabilize the economy by 2026 at the latest. However, this alone is not sufficient. High growth has eluded Sri Lanka in the last few decades. Unlike the southeastern nations, we have not been able to seize the opportunities and possibilities arising from the fast-changing global economic situation. This program then is a defining moment. The current structural reforms will release Sri Lanka's growth potential by enhancing competition, promoting trade liberalization, remove impediments to private investments, and implementing climate change. A program to put us onto a high growth trajectory. It is my belief that the success and the sustainability of this reform will depend on a new political framework which addresses the requirements of the commitment to reconciliation amongst the major ethnic groups in the country, leading to a truly collective Sri Lankan identity.
State Minister Ranjit Siambalampitiya says that measures will be taken to bring the best anti-corruption act in Asia to the parliament. The state minister speaking to media in Rwanda said that the relevant act will be tabled following an agreement reached with the International Monetary Fund. The state minister said that one of the main factors pointed out by the IMF is to further strengthen the anti-corruption measures. He added that the president expected to table this act on anti-corruption in the parliament following the upcoming new year. He further said that they are ready to bring the challenge with the consensus, and such change is required even without the consensus. He said that they will pass the best anti-corruption bill in Asia at the parliament. And meanwhile, the main operations office of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna in Kaluthara, Bandaragama seat was declared open today.
Following the opening of the operations office, a public meeting was held with the participation of many public representatives.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that a temporary permission will be extended to carry out trade activities on the roadsides during the festive season. The minister made these remarks while joining a ceremony held to distribute new buses in gold. In line with the 75th Independence Day anniversary, a program has been initiated to deploy 500 new buses to strengthen the public transport services in rural road networks in the country. The program has been initiated under the Indian Credit Line facility. According to the new buses will be provided for each depot in the country under the program. Buses were handed over to the depots of Gal, Mathura and Kaluthara districts with the participation of the minister and the Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that permission will be granted for those who are in households and engaged in small-scale business to engage in trading activities free of charge on the roadsides. He said that an area will be allocated without putting any construction for those who are interested under the approval of the Divisional Secretary. Accordingly, he said that the relevant trading activities will be evolved from April 1st to 18th of the stalls have to be removed on the 19th. And meanwhile, Raigam Tele's 2022 awards was held in a spectacular grand ceremony yesterday.
And the national television also managed to clinch several awards at the ceremony. The 19th Raigam Tele's Award was held at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo. Awards were presented for teledramas and programs telecast in 2022. National Television's children's program Sindhu Kochia, directed by W.M. Malathi Virasinghe, secured the jury award for the best children's program at the ceremony.
Raigam Telis.
National Television's Nana Mihira program, directed by Devika Tharangani Kumarasinghe, won the award for the most outstanding television educational program of the year. Vijay Abhinandan Vishwanathan of Netra Channel won the most outstanding Tamil News Presenter Award of the year. The most outstanding teledrama lyrics of the year award was secured by Supun Ratnayake for the song Joliyata Nawa Api in the drama Tumpani, telecast on the national television. Veterans who had rendered an immense service to the betterment of telecinema and mass media field received awards at the event. Accordingly, senior journalist Saman Athaudahetti was honoured with an award at the ceremony. Also, veteran actress Nethali Nanayakara was honoured at the ceremony as well. Veteran actress Veena Jayakodi secured the Lifetime Achievement Award during the ceremony.
Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Services says that ferry services between Karaikal Port in Pondicherry, India and Kankasanture is scheduled to commence from the 29th of April. The minister made these remarks during a discussion held with the relevant stakeholders on the commencement of the ferry service. The infrastructure facilities of the Kankasanture port will be further improved following the commencement of the ferry service. Accordingly, a new passenger terminal will be built at the port. Provision worth 144 million rupees will be facilitated through the Sri Lanka Ports Authority for the overall development project. The relevant construction will be carried out by the Sri Lanka Navy. The construction expected to be completed by the 2nd of April. The owners of the ferry services were also presented at the discussion. They said that $50 will be charged from a passenger for one-way trip and a baggage of 100 kilograms will be allowed. A ferry would carry 150 passengers at a time will sail around 4 hours from Karaikal Port to Kankasanture. Plans have been made to conduct only daytime operations during the first phase of the operations. It was noted that any entrepreneur from Sri Lanka and India can join the ferry service operations. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the new International Telecommunications Union Area Office and Innovation Centre in India at a program in Vijayan Bhavan today. Minister Kanaka Herath participated in this event representing Sri Lanka. It's the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies headquarters in Geneva. It has a network of field officers, regional officers and area officers. India signed a host country agreement in March 2022 with ITU for the establishment of an area office. It will serve India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Afghanistan and Iran, enhancing coordination among nations and fostering mutually beneficial economic cooperation in the region. Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union, Doran Bogan Martin, was also present at this occasion.
Sri Lanka is on a mission to transcend into an inclusive digital economy by leveraging cutting-edge technology. As we speak, my team is developing the National Digital Framework for 2030, and this will be in conjunction with a series of events starting this October with number of exhibitions, conferences, symposiums, and this is a holistic approach that we have taken together with the World Bank, private and public sector. It is important to note that from today onwards we have a dedicated area office for the countries in our region. It is my sincere hope that the ITU area office will serve as a cornerstone for a bright future in relations of telecom and ICT regulators of our region. The presence of ITU in New Delhi as an area office for South Asia will strengthen the ITU mission of connecting people and bridging the digital divide. I am sure that Innovation Center will be a venue for the origin of outstanding innovators with global importance. We truly expect that Innovation Center will be able to unveil new findings which will enhance the digital transformation of the society.
Now let's take a look at several local news items in brief. The farmer community in Mahavali Sea Zone offered the first portion of the paddy harvest in the Maha-season to Sri Dalada Maligawa today. The event was held with the participation of Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. Deputy Chief Prelate of Askaria Chapter, Venerable Wandua Upali Thera, and Deputy Registrar, Venerable Narampanave Ananda Thera, led the religious observances of the ceremony. A program was held for the children with Down syndrome at the Mount Lavinia beach yesterday. It was organized to mark the International Down Syndrome Day. This year's theme was Not for Us, but with Us. The program was organized by the Association for the Intellectually Disabled. Main ceremony to distribute uniforms and textbooks for students in Polonnaruwa district was held in Madragiri National School auditorium yesterday. The event was held with the participation of Zonal Education Director Yamuna Nilmini. More than 8,000 students are currently receiving their education. Panadura Police lifeguard officers were able to rescue lives of 4 members of the same family who were swept away in a water current in Panadura coast. The officers took immediate steps to rescue the victims who were swept away into the ocean and managed to bring them to the beach. Subsequently, they were admitted to Panadura Base Hospital. New water purification plant in Polonnaruwa Valikanda Divisional Secretariat Division was vested with the public yesterday. The event was held with the participation of District Secretary Dharmasiri, and 500 families in Milinda and Madurangala villages will benefit from the plant. The project was completed at a cost of 5 million rupees. An alligator which had fallen into a well in Aranga Vilayayatuna area was rescued and released to Pivarathava Reservoir. The 5-feet-long alligator was rescued by the wildlife officers after an operation of 5 hours.
Welcome back with international news. And at least 26 people have died in Mississippi and Alabama after a tornado tore through the southern U.S. states.
And search and rescue efforts are continuing, and the Mississippi state government has declared a state of emergency.
The storms devastated several rural towns with rolling fork in western Cherokee country and almost completely wiped out. The more storms are predicted to hit parts of Alabama and Georgia early today and potentially bring large hail. The storm system which raised out the Mississippi produced a tornado that has caused catastrophic damage to communities across the state. The biggest twisted, obliterated dozens of buildings in several small towns, flipping cars on their sides and toppling power lines. The small town of Rolling Fork, located in Cherokee country in western Mississippi, has essentially been wiped out, according to its mayor. The search and rescue efforts will continue in Mississippi as more storms is predicted to hit parts of Alabama and Georgia early on Sunday and potentially bring large hail. U.S. President Joe Biden also offered his support for the affected region. He described the images coming out of Mississippi as heartbreaking. And meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin says Russia will station facilities and tactical nuclear weapons near Belarus, and President Putin said that the move would not violate nuclear non-proliferation agreements and compared to the move to the United States strengthening its weapons in Europe. President Putin has said that Moscow would not be transferring control of its arms to Minsk. The United States, in the meantime, has indicated that Russia would not use nuclear weapons after the announcement. Despite the move, Belarus shares a long border with Ukraine and with NATO members Poland, Lithuania and Latvia. This will be the first time since the mid-1990s that Moscow will have based nuclear arms outside the country. The Belarusian regime is a firm Kremlin ally and supporter of the invasion of Ukraine. President Putin said that Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko had long raised the issue of stationing tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. Russia will start training crews to operate the weapons from next week. The construction of a storage facility for tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus will be completed by the 1st of July, and President Putin added.
Meanwhile, former U.S. President Donald Trump held the first rally of his 2024 presidential campaign in Texas. The rally was kicked off railing against prosecutors investigating him and employing dark and conspiratorial language to fire up his base ahead of next year's Republican primary elections. The campaign event marks the former president's return to a traditionally conservative state in which he remains popular. Former U.S. President facing potential indictment opened the rally by playing a song, Justice for All, that features a choir of men imprisoned for their role in the insurrection at United States Capitol, singing the national anthem and a recording of Trump reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Trump is being investigated by prosecutors in Manhattan for campaign finance violations stemming from his alleged payment of hush money to an adult film actress ahead of the 2016 election. A special counsel appointed by the Department of Justice is also investigating allegations he hoarded top-secret documents and masterminded a plot seeking to overturn the 2020 election.
Moving to Egypt, a mummy story. at least 200,000-year mummified ram heads dating from the Ptolemaic period and a plateau old kingdom structure have been uncovered at the temple of Ramses in the second city of ancient city of Abydos and southern Egypt. Mummified ears, dogs, wild goats and cows and gazelles and mongooses were found in tempting along with the ram heads, which are thought to be votive offerings indicating continuing reverence for Ramses II at the site about 1,000 years after his death. The Tourism and Antiquities Ministry said that the discoveries would expand knowledge on the site over a period of more than 2 millennia up to the Ptolemaic period. Alongside the mummified animals remains the team from the New York University Institute for the Study of Ancient World uncovered a large plateau structure with the walls approximately 5 meters thick from the Old Kingdom's 6th dynasty.
In the meantime, a street within the Imperial Palace in central Tokyo has been opened to the public for cherry blossom viewing for the first time in 4 years. About 100 cherry trees of numerous varieties line Inu Street, which stretches for about 600 meters. The trees are currently in full bloom, and the annual spring event had not been held during the past 3 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. The umbrella-carrying visitors strolled along the street, some taking pictures of the blossoms. Visitors enjoy a glimpse of the rarely seen buildings and the cherry blossoms and various other flowering plants inside the palace.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ක්ලික් මැට්ස් ෆන් ට්‍රීමක් ඔත්තුමි තියනකම්
Welcome back with the sports update, and it's cricket and the big match season. The 17th battle of the goals between DS Senanayake College and Mahanama College ended in a draw, and the match was played at the Pisaraval Stadium.
Batting first, DS Senanayake College scored 203 runs for their first innings. In response, Mahanama College scored 255 runs for their first innings, and DS Senanayake College managed to put up a second innings total of 242 runs. At the end of the match, Mahanama College was 76 runs with a loss of 2 wickets, and Kavindu Ahmed of the Mahanama College was named man of the match. The 116th Battle of the Maroons Hill Country between Kingswood College and Dharmaraja College, Kandy, was concluded in a draw. Batting first, Dharmaraja College scored 114 runs for their innings, while Kingswood put up a score of 132 for their first innings. In response, Dharmaraja College scored 231 runs for their second innings. Kingswood College with 153 runs for the loss of 9 wickets for their second innings at the end of the match, and man of the match was Nisala Aberatna. The 39th Battle of the Rocks between Malayadeva College and St. Anne's College in Kurunagala was also ended in a draw. The match was played at the Velagidara Stadium, Kurunagala, and batting first, St. Anne's College scored 164 runs for their first innings. Malayadeva scored 193 in their first innings. St. Anne's second innings was limited to a mere score of 134 runs. At the end of the match, Malayadeva College was 27 runs with a loss of 2 wickets for their second innings. 41st Battle of the Gold Kegal between St. Mary's College Kegal and Kagal Vidyalaya in Kegal was ended in a draw. Match was played at public grounds in Kegal, and in their first innings, Kagal Vidyalaya scored 91 runs while St. Mary's College scored 168. Kegal Vidyalaya scored 141 runs for their second innings, and accordingly St. Mary's College required only 65-run target to claim victory of the match. However, spectators of the opponents disrupted the proceedings when St. Mary's College was 48 runs for the loss of 3 wickets. Accordingly, match officials decided to end the match in a draw. St. Benedict's College, Kotahena managed to clinch a 19-run victory in the one-day encounter against Wesley College, Colombo. The match was played at SSC Grounds, Colombo, and batting first, St. Benedict's College scored 240 runs in their innings, and chasing a target of 242, Wesley College was restricted to a total of 222 runs by the Benedicts. Man of the match was Chanal Sarathunga of St. Benedict's College.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ක්ලික් මැට්ස් ෆන් ට්‍රීමක් ඔත්තුමි තියනකම්
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita, signing off with Hesha.